How to make millions from the green energy. Welcome, namaste, welcome back to my channel, 𝗵𝗲 Stock Analyst. So the question on everybody minds is that how to make millions from the green energy, because currently the trend is this electric vehicles and the green energy. So alternate energy as we call about it. So let me discuss in details regarding the aspects with all the data and the percentage points of the how you can make money from this green energy. So basically when we talk about green energy, it's about solar energy, electric vehicle technology mostly, and the gas based power stations or hydroelectric energy. So these are called green energy, which are non fossil fuel based energy, right? So fossil fuel is oil, gas, oil, basically oil, diesel, coal. So these are called fossil fuels. Even gas is not, and the nuclear power energy also. So let me talk about that this in short. Even in next 20-30 years, there will be a huge proportion of the percentage of energy which will be in the world, and in India it will be generated from the alternative energy, or the basically what you call it the green energy. But still for the continuous and the long term basis, it will not be sufficient, and we will continue to depend on the conventional oil and gas and coal based power stations. Why I am telling is that, and how you can benefit from this electric vehicle technology and the electric vehicle, the trend is that green energy or the electric vehicle energy, as we know, is that basically more and more battery operated electric vehicle cars and vehicles are coming into the market. And in India also, if we talk about we look at it, that's on an average around 60 kilowatt hour. So the battery capacity of an average electric car or the passenger vehicle is 60 kilowatt hour, and it takes around 8 to 9 hours for the full charging of this. And this full charge battery can go on for approximately 300 kilometers. So the mileage is around 300 kilometers on a full charged battery unit. Okay, so and this 60 kilowatt means it will take around 480 to 500 units of power consumption to charge this battery. So if you look at it, so either for that also you will need the power, right? So and that power will come only from the conventional sources of energy, like power station, continuous supplying power station like oil, gas based power stations and the coal based power stations. See, even if it is say solar operated power energy, the battery is solar operated, but still it is not a continuously, and to continuously charge you will still require the conventional sources, or you call fossil fuel based sources of the energy. So as we talked about, that 60 kilowatt hour of the battery will take around and 8 hours of charging will take you to around 300 kilometers of the mileage. So assuming this, approximating every 40 additional cars, means if 40 cars is, for every 40 cars one needs to have a 1 megawatt of power generation unit. Okay, so that power station, 1 megawatt of power will be required. So you can imagine that how much additional power will be required. So I have done some calculation. So on an average in India currently, around in a monthly around 300,000 passenger cars are sold. So around 3.5 million passenger cars, or you call say auto sales, happening every year in India. Okay, last year as of the data. So around 1.17% of these cars are electric vehicles or the battery operated cars, right? So this comes to around say 34,000 units per year additional. So we are getting 35,000 cars, electric vehicle operated cars. Okay, it is called electric vehicles basically. So as we talked about, is that this will need roughly around, if this every year, and this is as per the projection of some of these recent studies, is that the car percentage or electric vehicle percentage in the total car sales in India will go up to 5% by 2030. So taking all these things, so on an average right now also you will require around 1000 megawatt of power. So for every year you will need to add 1,000 megawatt of power station for battery charging, because from where the battery charging will come, right? So that is where also you will need that charging stations and the power. So that power will continue to be given by the fossil fuel based power stations only. You know that alternative energy based power station, sorry, not alternative but conventional energy power station. So we will roughly need to add 3%, because currently India's power consumption is around 1200 billion units. Okay, so currently at this rate, at present rate, we will need to add 3% more power requirement. And if the percentage of the electric vehicles as projected goes from 1.17% to 5% by 2030, and then to ultimately by 2040 it will be 10%, then we will need to add very much the power capacity, right? And that power capacity, huge power stations will be built up by nuclear or oil and gas or coal based power stations. So we will continue to rely in the world also, will continue to rely for even this electric vehicle battery operated green energy also on this conventional power energy. So in a way we are not going to go away totally from this conventional or the fossil fuel based oil power stations. And also if you look at the solar power stations, the solar is also not a continuously operating power station, right? So whenever there is a sun rays and sunrise is there, so those kind of like India has a lot of sun rays and the heat is there, sun is continuously there, but it is, and Africa has a lot of this sun, and Middle East maybe has a lot of this sun, right? But not every part of the world has lot of continuous sun, and also this continuous cannot be grid based power technology, right? So it will not be able to continuously so much of that power it will not be able to generate. And also you have to look at the cost economics with the rising power of all the commodities, metals, nickel, copper, steel, then photovoltaic cells. So all these units and modules, also the cost has gone up. So you have to take the per unit cost also. So the per unit cost of this non-continuous, because these are non-off-grid based power technology. So we will continue to rely, even though there will be a lot of shift happening from the fossil fuel to the non-fossil fuel, like this electric vehicles and solar technologies, but still mainstay of the power in the world, the fossil fuel will not go out of fashion. Keep that in mind. And also if you look at the cost economics of electric vehicle operated vehicles, then it comes to around 11 rupees to 12 rupees at the current price of per unit per kilometer. Okay, 11 rupees, because if you look at this as we talked about that 480 units for the fully charged electric vehicle, which will last around 300 kilometers distance it will cover. So that and continuously at the commercial rate of this battery operated commercial rate of this charging station, it even take around 6 rupees per unit. So it will come to around 3,500 rupees. And you look at this charging, so that way you come to this mileage of or what you the cost of it's 11 rupees, which is still even at $90 or $100 of crude oil, it is still higher. Even with this higher crude oil prices, the petrol or diesel cost still comes to average mileage of the petrol diesel driven cars is less than the electric vehicles. Okay, and right now when we have seen in this last in last 1 year that even despite this COVID and everything was closed, but after that once it was opened and not factories had already opened, not opened fully, and offices not opened fully, but still there was a power shortage in India. Because of this, everybody started buying this electric vehicle. I mean, very much electric vehicles were bought, and illegally everybody is charging. So that demand of power also drew, which was not unaccounted for. This is not accounted for. So you can please be sure that you can set up these power stations, you can set up these small power units and charging stations, which is the future. It is going to be there, and this is going to be the new source of making millions. So that is what I just wanted to share it in this particular, that even though we go towards this electric vehicle and the solar energy and all this green energy, but we will continue to rely on the traditional fossil fuel based energy for a majority of our consumption things. And particularly with this shifting or this towards this green energy, you will have a chance to make millions from this opening up of this new like power units, small power stations, or the battery operated this charging stations. So these are the future which I wanted to just share it with all of you, that how you can make millions from this. That's it from my side, and ciao from Neeraj. See you once again next week with some new great ideas regarding how to make benefit from these new trends.